Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana Hobby Guy. I'm doing a follow-up video today to the Eiffel Tower video. So a lot of people have downloaded the file from my website, about 500 or so far. And I've gotten quite a few emails from people, some of them not so nice, saying that it's not possible to do this with a 2.5 watt laser. Well, let me tell you folks, I can do this with a 2.5 watt laser or a 5 watt laser, and they're insinuating that the only reason I was able to do it was because I'm using the 14.2 watt NAJ, and that's simply not true. So what I've done today is I've gone ahead and got the Auteur out, set it up, and I'm going to show you that it just is possible to do it on any laser. It doesn't matter what laser that you have, because really all you need to know is how to use a laser in the first place. So before you send me those nasty comments, make sure that you learn how to use your laser first. So with that said, let's jump over into Lightburn, and I'm going to prove to you today that it can be done on a 5 watt laser. All right, so here we are. We're in Lightburn right now, and this is the piece. And let me zoom in on this just a little bit. I'm just going to roll my mouse wheel up. This is the piece that I include in the Eiffel Tower that you use for your test burn. So what do I mean by test burn? Well, first off, you should be running a power test. That's the very first thing. You should be running a power test to find out what it's going to take to cut the material that you're using for the Eiffel Tower. So let's say you're using 2mm. The first thing you should do is do a vector test grid and set it all up in line mode. Find out what cuts the best. But if you're lazy like I am, sometimes, I have a pretty good idea. I have a library. So I go to my library, I load up my cuts, and I'm usually ready to go, but I still do my test burns. And today proves why you should still be doing that vector test burn, was because it just didn't come out right. So here on the bed, you'll see there's a few tool paths here. Well, what I did was I started with this one right here, and I did my first test cut, and I used my library down below, and the cut wasn't right. And I actually started before that with one other piece. So I decided to take this test piece, bring it up here all by itself, and I tried to cut it. It didn't cut right. Then I tried another one with different settings, then a third one with different settings, and finally this fourth one with different settings. So yeah, you have to have some piece of sacrificial wood or whatever material you're using to start with to run your tests. I've run these tests and I've decided that this one was the best one. I'm going to show you the video in a second. But what I do is, and you're probably wondering why these are tool paths. What I do is I select it, I press the Control and the D key on the keyboard to duplicate it. Then I use my right arrow to move it off to get it in the right spot. Then I select the one that I duplicated and put it on a tool path. And now I'm ready to burn just this one. I'm not wasting any material because you see there's hardly any space in between these. So this is how I do it. And let me bring up that video now and show you the results. So here's the start of the burn. Now you can see this was the very first piece that I tried. Well, I was a little overzealous. So I just loaded up my cut library and I started to go. Well, every day is different than the next. The temperature changes, the humidity changes. I'm no longer in my garage, thank God. I'm out here in my shop. It's air conditioned, very low humidity. So the environment changes every single day. So yeah, you should be running your power scale before you do any of these jobs. And that's what I did wrong right here. So you'll see I didn't run my power scale first. And I practice what you preach, Rich. I'm the first one that shouldn't make this mistake, right? Now, I've gone ahead and ran the first one here with the changes that I thought would be appropriate. Didn't come out quite right. Ran the second one, started coming out better, but didn't cut all the way through. Then I ran this third one, and I noticed that that didn't work either. So now I'm running this fourth one. Now I've only used about, I don't know, 4 inches of material here. And you can just keep running other tests on this material later on. Here's the result of the fourth. Let me speed this up just a little bit. Well, no, you know what? I'm going to leave it in real time because I want you to see that I haven't changed anything. I'm showing you the real live time video here. So now some of them are just popping right out, and the ones that are on the y-axis, they're going to pop right out. The x-axis ones are always going to be the problem because it's a rectangular diode. So now I'm taking this, and I didn't flip it over, which I should be. You should always, oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So you should always poke them out from the back side because they come out much, much easier. And you'll see that every one of these, even the tiniest ones, are coming right out. And wait for it, because I'm going to show you that this is the Ortour laser. This is the 5.5 watt Ortour laser. It's the LM2 Laser Master 2. So, and here you go. I'm going to do a zoom in on it in live time. So there's no question. And I don't have to use an enclosure out here for this because I have a 1000 CFM exhaust that goes up through the attic and outside. So you can hear it running in the background. Yeah, so that's how easy it is. So let's take a look at what I wound up with here. I wound up with 180 speed, 70 power, and inline mode, and I did 3 passes on each one. And they're both exactly the same. 3 passes, 180 and 70. That's just how easy it is to do this. Okay, so there are a couple of other little tricks that you might need to know to do this properly and get a good cut. And one of them, if we come over here to the console, and right here where it says type commands, go ahead and type $$ there and press enter. And I want you to look at your $33, this one right here. So this particular laser, the Ortour Laser Master, has a $33 setting of 250. And what that is a shock setting. The shock setting is at 250. And you know what? You see these little lines right here? These little tiny boxes and these hard cuts and curves, gonna set off your shock alarm because they're moving. And even if you go real slow, 150, 100, and it doesn't matter. You have to be below 100 to be able to cut this out properly and without setting off the shock alarm. So what I did was I set mine to 2000. And the way that you do that is very simple. $33 equals 2000 and press enter. And okay, there's your acknowledgement right there. $33 equals 2000. If you want to be sure, type $, enter again, and look at 33 and you'll see that it's 2000. Now, if you don't have this set at 2000, and keep in mind that you never ever leave your laser when it's burning, never. It's not like a 3D printer where you can walk away from it for 2 days. With the laser, you really need to be there. Hopefully there's not going to be any shock. Hopefully you have it mounted properly. Hopefully it's on a level table and nobody's going to bump into it. No kids or dogs running around, especially kids and dogs. You don't want them in the same room when you're using your laser. You have to have your protective glasses on. It has to be a workshop environment, really. And the important thing here is that it will set off that shock alarm. So a lot of people are saying, hey, why did this stop in the middle of the burn and give me an error 9 code? Well, that error 9 means that it got some shock. So it automatically stops. It's a safety feature. And that's why I changed mine from 250 to 2000. And really, it doesn't matter to me because I'm always with my laser when it's burning. So I don't really worry too much about that. You really never want to disable safety features, but sometimes you just have to, especially on a cut like this. So you have to keep in mind that speed and turns are going to make a big impact on the laser. Now, there is one other factor involved here, and that's focus. I did go ahead and use the little cylinder, the little stainless steel cylinder that Ortur provides for the Laser Master 2, and I set my focus. Then I moved the cylinder just slightly off away from the bottom of the laser, and I loosened it and I dropped it down. This is 3mm wood, so I dropped it down by about 1.5 millimeters. So the reason that I do that is because I want the focus to be in the center, at least in the center of the wood when I'm cutting. Now, if your focus is not proper, if you don't have it focused halfway down, well, what's going to happen is it's just not going to cut all the way through. That's not how a laser works. You need to be able, the laser needs to be able to reach the bottom of the wood to make the cut. And once you get about halfway through, if you're focused at the top of the wood, the smoke and the debris is going to restrict the sight of the laser. So the beam is not going to reach any further down than maybe, 2 millimeters or so. And technically it can, with the right settings, you can cut up to 10 millimeters or 8 millimeters, 6 millimeters, depends on your laser. You just have to refocus it on your different passes. That is another important thing, is making sure that your focus is right. So let's recap. So the first thing that you should do is go ahead and do your test burn. That's number one. Make sure that you get a sample of the work that you're about to do on a piece of material that you're about to engrave or cut. Then go ahead, do your test. At that point, duplicate that item and slide it over a little bit on your sacrificial piece that you're using. Go ahead, change your settings, try it again. Maybe you change your speed and your power and drop your focus a little, raise your focus a little, the number of passes. There's so many things that you can do there. Make sure on really small cuts that you turn off that shock alarm, that $1.33 setting. The 250 is fine. 500 is probably where I'd want it to be, but 250, the default number, is fine for most things. But when you get something intricate like this at 100 millimeters a minute, it's going to move very quickly in those corners, and that's going to set off your shock alarm. So you want to make sure that you change your shock alarm. So yes, any laser can do this. Now I could get out the 2.5 watt that's hanging up there on the wall, and I can do the same thing with that. Now it's going to take 5 or 6 passes to do each one, so it's going to take a lot longer. But the fact of the matter is, a laser with the proper settings is going to work. It's going to do what it's supposed to do. There's no question about that. So I hope you learned something today, and I really hope that you try that Eiffel Tower project, because it's a great project. I'll leave a link down below in the show more section of the video where you can go and get it for yourself and give it a try. It's a great fun project, something that everybody loves. In fact, I just did another one today for a friend. So go ahead and give it a try, because you'll really love it. And if you run into problems, you know what? Don't email me. Just come back and watch this video again. Okay, folks? And as always, I thank you for watching. And I especially thank my patrons and my donors and everybody out there that supports this channel. You guys are really incredible. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend. I will be back after the Thanksgiving holiday. I'm going to have a great trip. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. Take care.